After checking into the hotel, I had spring dreams every day. Later, the police found half a male body in the mattress where I slept. After he was dismembered, he slept face to face with me for 3 days. Soon, I became pregnant, but I don't have a boyfriend at all. The Taoist shook his head. You are pregnant with the deceased womb. In 3 days, you will reunite as a family. Late at night in the hotel, I woke up in a foul smell. The smell is fishy and unbearable, like rotten flesh, which cannot be penetrated even if the window is open. After much searching, I was sure the smell came from the mattress, and that's when. The weight of the body makes the mattress sing, vaguely. Half of the facial contour floated inside. I screamed loudly in fear. 20 minutes later, the police and forensic examiner arrived. At the moment they cut open the mattress, countless black flies rushed out. There is half a corpse hidden in the cotton wool. The deceased was male with a twisted body and a rotten face facing up. Just right, facing the position where I sleep on my side every day. That is to say, we slept face to face for these 3 nights. My scalp exploded and I collapsed on the ground, feeling nauseous and unable to speak. But how did the body get stuffed into the mattress? And it hasn't been discovered for so many days. The hotel manager tearfully promised we clean every day, and the surveillance footage doesn't show any problems. These mattresses came to the hotel as soon as they left the factory. It must be something that happened in the factory. Besides, there are no traces of the mattresses being sewn together. Indeed, no trace. This is incredible, but it is a fact. How did the body get in? You can hide it yourself, can you? I got into the police car in a daze and went back to make a statement. The police sympathized with my experience. After calming my emotions, he asked gently, Miss Fang, you haven't found any other abnormalities in the past 3 days. Cold sweat oozed from my forehead and my heart was beating fast. Abnormal? There is still. From the first night I checked into the hotel, I started dreaming. Have strange spring dreams. In my dreams, there's always a man lying next to my pillow. He's tall, has a pair of likable eyes, and he touches me. In his dreams, constantly touching me with his icy hands. I don't find it fragrant. I find it scary. But wherever I go, men stand stiffly behind me, asking with lifeless eyes, Tang Tang, where are you going? In the darkness, his head suddenly turned, and the corners of his mouth were strangely pulled open, like an emotionless paper man. Slept with me, but you have to take responsibility. He hugged me tightly, and my body temperature was so cold that I couldn't help but shiver. Continuous strange dreams make me mentally exhausted. But as a scientific atheist, I have never thought about other directions. The police quickly identified the identity of the deceased. The only son of a local real estate tycoon, Zhang Song, 28 years old. Preliminary cause of death, mechanical asphyxia. When the police showed me the man's photo, my heart immediately surged. Zhang Song is the man who haunts me every night in my dreams. All of this is beyond my understanding. I almost blurted out, does this person have a birthmark on his left wrist? The team didn't take it seriously at first, but after the forensic autopsy report came out, his eyes suddenly became very subtle. How do you know that Zhang Song has this feature? Even the forensic doctor, who had just repaired his left hand, learned that there was. I was speechless for a moment. Also, such a ridiculous thing. Who would believe it? I have a big stone in my heart. There are too many doubts about this case. First of all, Zhang Song disappeared more than a month ago. It was his family who reported the missing person. It turned out to be a 5-star hotel in Thailand thousands of miles away. This information confused everyone. International cases go through many processes, and they only know when all the materials are in place. Zhang Song went to Thailand with his girlfriend Wang Fei, whom he had just started dating. Both disappeared on the night of their arrival. Foreign police began to think of burglary. After all, the hotel is on the island, next to the seaside. and occasionally villagers with dirty hands and feet sneak in to steal. There were no signs of struggle on the scene, and neither of their belongings were touched. When I saw the photo of the two of them together, I couldn't believe my eyes. The graceful girl laughed heartily at the seaside. Jong Song's girlfriend looks 80% like me. Miss Fang, is it really a coincidence that you checked into this hotel? When I left the police station, I heard the police murmuring. This case has nothing to do with me, but there seems to be 1,000 threads of continuity. After returning from the police station, I immediately changed hotels. I turned on all the lights in the room, but still felt gloomy and dim around me. I was originally here on a business trip to discuss the project, and I cooperate with the police every day to conduct investigations. Everything is delayed. Finally returned to G City, strange things happen frequently. My appetite has always been good. I started to vomit, couldn't stand the smell of meat, and my appetite decreased significantly. Everyone thought I was scared, which is understandable. But I ate less, and my stomach gets bigger day by day. Colleagues joked at first, "Why did you get fat?" But as your belly grew bigger, everyone's expressions became subtle. The leader even hinted, "Zifang, if you have it, you still need to get the certificate early." I have experienced a pointed belly, and it has to be a male fetus. I find it ridiculous. I'm single. Whose child am I carrying? Looking at the obviously swollen belly, I felt inexplicably anxious. After work, I made an appointment with my best friend. A family died on the road, burning paper money. After all, it is a thing of the underworld, and everyone avoids going far away, but I look at those flying paper money. A panic hunger surges in the belly. I have never felt that kind of craving in my life. I kept swallowing saliva and couldn't help but walk towards the brazier, until I heard my best friend scream in my ear. I suddenly came to my senses. He actually knelt on the ground and ate paper money in big bites. My best friend was so scared that she couldn't help but invited Taoist priest. The old Taoist face suddenly changed when he looked at me. "Miss, what you are pregnant with is the deceased." Yin fetus, as the name suggests, is the product of a woman's pregnancy caused by evil spirits. Sleeping with a corpse for 3 days can lead to pregnancy. The obsession of the deceased was great, and he was in his prime. "Miss, if the yin fetus is not treated, it will grow into a shape. It's amazing, the day the yin fetus is born is your death." I picked out a mouthful of paper money in horror, vomited, and kicked my belly with dissatisfaction. That eerie wriggling sensation scared me so much that I finally believed it. I have the seed of a dead person in my belly. The Taoist priest's surname is Wang, and he is over 60 years old. He is also a real-world friend of the neighbors. Whenever there is a red or white matter in a family, they will ask him for good or bad luck. In order to suppress the growth of them, he mixed Rister blood, cinnabar, and incense burner ash from the local Millennium Temple together. Smear it carefully on my stomach. I was half believing, but that night, I feel a long-lost sense of relaxation and calmness. It's just late at night. A chill sticks to the belly. Did you kick the quilt? I opened my eyes in a daze and hooked the quilt with my hand, but encountered a soft and rotten piece of meat. I suddenly opened my eyes and saw Jong Song with his rotten face pressed against my belly, as if listening to the fetal heart. My scalp went numb instantly, and I could hardly breathe. "Tang Tang, do you want to harm our child?" His eyes were fierce, and under his stern questioning, the corpse forms fell straight onto me. As a mother, shouldn't you love him unconditionally? How can you bear to hurt an innocent little life? I gritted my teeth and cursed at him in fear. "I don't even know you. What do you want?" Heggled and sneered. "What I want, of course, is for our family of 3 to reunite in the underworld." Anger swept over my body, but my limbs were numb and I couldn't move at all. The Taoist said it was a typical case of sleep paralysis. Recently, such situations have become more and more frequent. I really feel that he is sucking my vitality. The more haggard I look, the more powerful Jong Song becomes in his dreams. After waking up, I ask for help in a daze. Master, think of a way. Can't you get rid of it? Yin fetus is common in dead women, and living people have yin fetus. You have to find a ghost midwife, but it's not that easy to find in this era. There are only 2 in the country, so I can only try it for now. Taoist Wang dared not boast, bit his index finger, dripped it into the cinnabar, and drew Zhang Hua's charm with a pen. Who knew the charm would stick to the belly? I immediately had severe pain in my stomach, and at first I thought it was normal. But later I couldn't bear it anymore, rolling on the ground in pain and screaming. And my stomach, like a balloon, quickly inflated and expanded. The belly swells until it becomes a thin layer. The fair skin is covered with blue veins, and the position of the belly button is cracked. Blood keeps overflowing, and I cry helplessly. It's moving. I can even see a pair of small hands and the hideous face of the corpse baby wriggling in the belly. It seems like I'm about to burst out of my belly in the next moment. According to this trend, my belly will be completely torn apart in a few minutes. Wang Daoshi's face suddenly changed. He made a decisive decision and left his fingerprints. Evil animal, if you come out now, I will immediately throw you into the 18th layer of hell. Suddenly, the lights in the room flickered continuously, and the cold wind overturned all the candles arranged on the table. With the Taoist sharp threat, the corpse baby probably knew that he was short of months and weak, and stopped struggling unwillingly. Finally, the belly wriggled a few times and returned to its original state. After saving his life, the Taoist finally breathed a sigh of relief. Zifeng, this yin fetus is too powerful. It has already gained self-awareness and cannot be removed rashly. Otherwise, the first one to die. Yes, that's me. The Taoist has not thought of a new way yet. Over there, an unexpected person approached me. That is Zhang Song's mother, Mrs. Zhang. Mrs. Zhang, a famous business legend in City G. When she lost her husband when she was young, she single-handedly developed the Zhang family into a well-known enterprise in G City. And it is not an exaggeration to say that she is the Iron Lady. She paid a visit, asked about her well-being, and handed over a generous check. Zhao Song's matter must have scared you. Keep this money. I instinctively covered my stomach with a pillow. The matter of the yin fetus is so unbelievable. How can it be explained if someone finds out? Mrs. Zhang doesn't seem to notice my little movements. She talked to herself about the unfinished case. My son's death is definitely related to his new girlfriend Wang Fei. Didn't she also disappear? Madame Zhang sneered. I have investigated that woman and found that all the information was forged, including academic certificates and social experience. My son was most likely killed by a fairy. After arriving in Thailand, she failed to blackmail the gang, which led to her murder. It doesn't make sense. If it's for money, the Zhang family has a lot of money. Valuable things on site are not missing. People who seek wealth will transport the body back to the country from afar and stuff it into the mattress. There are many mysteries, but I have no time to care. What does it have to do with me? I just want to deal with the weirdo in my stomach. I refused the high pacification fee before leaving. The old lady actually invited me to attend Zhang Song's farewell ceremony. I wanted to refuse, but then I thought about it. The Taoist said, to eradicate the yin fetus, we must start from the root. You will become a fetus. I'm afraid Zhang Song's remnant soul will remain in your body. Help him find his body, and perhaps there will be a way to break the deadlock. Thinking of this, I held back my nausea and agreed to her. A smile immediately appeared on Mrs. Jiang's face. Before leaving, her eyes repeatedly fell on my belly, burning almost uncontrollably. Good. Good. Very good pregnancy. I even heard the sound of her throat moving slightly and swallowing saliva secretly. It's like starving ghost craving for live meat. On that day, I came to Jiang's house as promised. Master Wang repeatedly reminded on the phone. I gave you a soul-fixing curse. Find a way to stick it on Zhongsong's body, so that you may be able to find the rest of his body. I'm nervous, so many people. How can I have a chance? Strangely, besides Zhong, the scene. Old lady, there's no one else in the morning hall. As soon as I entered the door, I felt like the evil fetus in my belly had come back to life. The morning hall is filled with white candles, but it is still eerie and creepy inside. That kind of cold, like crawling into the skin, everywhere. Zhongsong's body is right in the center. Disgust flashed through my heart. This person was a playboy when he was alive, changing girlfriends every few days, speeding through traffic police, and causing deaths at several ship feasts. But in the end, everything was settled by the family and someone took the blame. Even after death, I glanced over. It's not much different from what I've seen in my dreams. It's been processed and sutured, and my face is heavily powdered. Under the candlelight, his cheeks reflected a dim light. It's extremely like a cheap wax man. My poor child, why are you so unlucky? Mrs. Zhong sobbed and suddenly held my hand. I was thinking about how to find an opportunity to paste talismans, and I was so shocked that I almost screamed. Madame Zhong stared at me with red eyes, afraid that I would run away. She urged, Zifeng, the time has come, go both 3 times. Now I am even more suspicious. I have also been to the farewell ceremony, who still cards the time. I had already folded the charm piece and held it tightly in my hand. With my back to the old lady, in the moment of bending over, I bounced the charm to the corpse's feet. But also from this perspective, I just found out that Zhongsong was wearing a big red room suit under his white burial clothes. On the table opposite, there are a pile of tablets densely packed. They are the ancestors of the Zhong family. I suddenly realized that this was not a farewell ceremony at all. Is this a ghost marriage? It stopped abruptly, turned my head and ran out. Madame Zhong saw through me and asked several bodyguards to kneel me down. She fiercely pinched my chin and tore off the warm mask. You're pregnant with my child, and you still want to have an abortion. You're dreaming. I lost my voice. How did you know? Turns out she knew I was pregnant with a vaginal fetus. Stop resisting, Fang Tang. Madame Zhong put her hands together and knelt devoutly on the cushion, kowtowing with a bang. Heaven curtains down, ancestors bless, and let our Zhong family leave our bloodline. Regardless of your yin and yang, it is the bloodline of my son, and it must be passed down. Madame Zhong forced me to drink a bowl of fetal protection talisman water. It is said to be water, but it is full of translucent snake eggs floating inside, which is a fetal protection artifact purchased by the Zhong family at a high price. I feel nauseous just by looking at it, clenching my teeth tightly. Seeing this, the bodyguard opened my mouth and forced it in. I struggled desperately, but those snake eggs slippery and snapped into my stomach. I feel like I've fallen into a cold and damp swamp, and all my energy has been sucked away by suction cups. The vaginal fetus in the abdomen has strength again. The stomach, which was originally calm, swelled up again. The Thai monk spoke fluent Chinese and showed off to the old lady. Look, these snake eggs are best suited to nourish them. Hundreds of spirit snakes can be refined into a bowl, 3 bowls a day, until the birth of the yin fetus, and you can hold a big fat grandson. Hearing this, my heart turned cold. The old lady was very satisfied and gave the old monk a large sum of money. During the days of being trapped, I was groggy and couldn't tell what day it was. I have resisted before. This is a society ruled by law, and this is illegal imprisonment. Overly naive words made the old lady giggle. Her hand, as old as Bart, caressed my face. Who would care if a silly girl like you disappeared? Your greatest value is giving birth to this child. My whole body is burning with anger, wishing to burn with her. But on the other hand, I know she's telling the truth. How can ordinary people escape from the impenetrable web woven by money and power? In a daze, I seem to have had a dream. The sound of waves seems to be in my ears, and the wind of the island licks my skin, damp and sticky, making it unbearable. But soon, I realized it wasn't an illusion. I opened my eyes weakly. In the dark, the mattress shook. That tiled monk secretly climbed onto my bed. If you follow me, I can find a way to spare your life, you know. Otherwise, the day the child is born will be the day of your death. The pouring rain outside the window mercilessly knocked on the glass, making people fearful. Today, Mrs. Zhang has a big business deal to discuss. She is not here, and there are fewer bodyguards in the villa. The old man is lecherous and always sweeps me away with his gaze. Now he has impatiently unlocked my handcuffs. I pursed my lips into a straight line, and disgust appeared in my eyes. But I did not choose to struggle, because today, when he fed me snake eggs, I secretly flipped his palm with my hand. The intensity of ambiguity the old pervert understands in an instant. Can you really guarantee that I will survive? Are you coming? I timidly looked up at him. The other hand hung down to the edge of the bed, fumbling into the gap in the mattress. A few days ago, I secretly hid a small silver rice fork. I'm taking risks, but so what? What else do I have to lose? When the old man was arching around my neck, I used all my strength and only heard a puff. The fork stabbed him hard in the neck. Blood splattered, his eyes swollen, and he fell straight to the bedside. And this moment, I have been looking forward to it for too long. I stumbled and disappeared into the pouring rain. Fortunately, I intercepted a taxi halfway up the mountain. The driver thought I had been robbed and took me away without hesitation. There must be Mrs. Jiang's eyes and ears in the police station. I didn't dare to go. I can only go back to my parents' house in the countryside first. My unkempt appearance with a big belly scared them, and they asked worriedly, but I was too painful to speak. Snake eggs can provide nutrition for the evil in the belly. Now it's gone, and he is kicking angrily in the stomach. I contacted Wang Daoshi and fell asleep without knowing how long it had been. I vaguely heard my parents whispering on the phone outside the door. Mrs. Zhang, she has really come back. Please come and pick her up quickly. Thank you for your trouble. Yes, 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 we all understand. Our address is... I was so angry that I rushed out and smashed the phone, but my parents blamed me instead. You child, dating young Master Zhang. Why don't you tell us? Mrs. Zhang showed us her group photo early on. You, of course, have to have a child. Don't be petty. I was shaking with anger. I have said that I have nothing to do with Zhang Song. They didn't believe me and assumed I was speaking in anger. Mom and Dad know that Zhang Song's death has had a big impact on you. But this child must be born. Zhang family is so big, in the future, won't it be the child in your belly? My mom is quick to criticize. Look at yourself. How much money can you get from traveling all year round? It's better to cover Madame Jiang's daily expenses, give her a dowry, and take care of your brother's job. Fang Tang, you have to be honest. I feel disheartened. Who says home is a safe haven? It's clearly another hell. Also, how could I forget that I have encountered things since I was young? They always blame me first. My younger brother has been living off his parents since graduating from a third-rate university. Recently, he has also been arranged by Mrs. Zhang to work in a large enterprise. Just based on this, parents can be grateful. They locked the door and waited for the Zhang family to pick me up again. The dull thunder echoed through the sky, and I covered my ears in pain. But my mother's words were through the door panel, word for word into the ear. Fang Tang, even if Zhang Gongzi abandons you, it is not the child's fault. The Zhang family is so rich, be realistic and consider more for us and your younger brother. But it didn't take long. The locked door quietly opened. I opened the door to ground marketing. Under the dim light, my younger brother stood at the door with a gloomy face. He looked at my stomach with disgust and mocked. Did someone really make you pregnant? I stared at him warily. What do you want to do? My relationship with my brother has always been cold. From birth, he naturally enjoyed all the love in his family. When he was a child, he fell flat while walking, and my parents would scold me for not watching him well. When he didn't do well in his studies, my dad blamed me for not tutoring him well. I wanted to learn art, but my family said they didn't have the money. But his younger brother's grades were poor, so they didn't hesitate to invite him to be an art school teacher and transfer him to an art student. After I got into college, my mom emphasized it. From now on, all the property and houses in the family will belong to your younger brother. Your parents are incapable and have nothing to leave you. You need to understand your own efforts. I applied for a student loan, worked outside during the winter and summer vacations of my 4 years of college, and my difficult life slowly improved after I started working. Growing up in this environment, our relationship is not very bad, but it's not much better. Mom and Dad are going to bed. You should leave quickly. What do you mean? Saying, still standing there, he got angry and pulled me downstairs directly. Hurry up. Do you still think you're not embarrassing enough? My throat tightened. He remained expressionless throughout, but his tense voice betrayed his nervousness. He estimated that the child was a product of my being bullied by Jong Song. This understanding is not wrong. The pouring rain raged in the dark night and in the distance. I saw several car lights coming out, and a car slowly drove towards my house. The Jong family is here. He asked me to leave through the back door, but as soon as the door opened, I bumped into a person head-on, and my liver and gallbladder cracked. The man tightly covered my mouth. Don't be afraid, it's me. This voice sounds familiar. Looking up, tears welled up in my eyes. The person who came is a long-lost teen. He let go and quietly led me away. There is also my old acquaintance, Wang Daoshi, in the police car. Wang Daoshi admitted, actually, from the beginning, the team asked me to take care of you. They all belong to the Special Investigation Department, and the purpose of this organization is to handle various cases that cannot be explained by science. Arriving at the safe house, the team talked to me seriously. Fang Tang, at this point, you must tell me the truth. Undoubtedly, he is a person who can give people a sense of security, whether it's his appearance or his profession. A month ago, on May 28th, Jong Song and Wang Fei went on vacation to a Thai island. His gaze is as sharp as an eagle. You were also at that hotel that night, weren't you? My heart trembled, like a stormy day outside. I found records that your room is diagonally opposite their room. That night, due to a local storm, only 2 households were staying in that corridor, and they were with you? I lowered my eyes and hugged my knees, attempting to resist the ensuing problems with silence. What did you see that night? He almost begged me. This is important to me and us. Please be brave enough to speak up. A month ago, it was my first time going abroad. I saved money by taking Liangsing, arrived early, and watched TV alone in my room after my best friend's flight was delayed. When checking in, my room card fell to the ground. Jong Song's girlfriend Wang Fei kindly reminded me. She was 24 or 25, tall and agile, a rare beautiful woman. I remained silent for a long time and finally calmly turned my eyes away. Sorry, I don't know anything. It was just a coincidence. Team Fang laughed. Coincidence? Do you still think it's all a coincidence? Wang Daoshi chimed in. Zifang, the room where Jong Song's body was hidden. All the people who have been staying since this month are women. After obtaining the guest information, he calculated their birth dates. As a result, you guess, Master Wang played a trick. These women's birth charts are a perfect match for Jong Song. Without exception, good luck. My breathing became rapid. Are you saying you will stay in that suite and someone planned it? The terrain of this hotel is a typical confluence of wealth and gas, and that room is even more luxurious. I positioned, but I went to the scene to investigate and found the mystery. The mystery is not in the mattress and on the bed frame. The bed frame in that room is all made of century-old willow trees. Willow belongs to yin, absorbing people's yang and fetal chat. Sleeping on it is like sleeping in a coffin. Financial eye position instantly becomes a weakness. I bit my lip tightly. So, all the women who have slept in this bed are pregnant? No, we have investigated. Currently, only you are. The Taoist came to a conclusion. This bed is for you to marry. Of course, it's just a mystery in bed, not enough to get pregnant 100%. Wang Taoist read the classics and found the reason in the ancient law. Ancient books record that only women can swallow the ashes of the deceased. I can't help but recall the day I checked in. In fact, when the company is on a business trip, the accommodation subsidy per person is 400 yuan per day, which is not enough to stay in a 5-star hotel. But as soon as I got off the plane, the top gifter who proposed to me booked this hotel for free. When I checked in, the front desk upgraded my room again. After a while, the customer service was enthusiastic and offered free coffee. The taste is a bit strange, and there's still unstirred white powder on the latte art. But considering it's free, I didn't object. I felt nauseous in my heart, which means that Zhang Song's physical disability was not caused by the murderer. Only one person can do all of this. That's Mrs. Zhang. This explains why the in your body is so powerful. Finding the reason, Taoist Wang also figured out the key to getting rid of the yin fetus. This evil obstacle is not born in a living person. He will give birth, and you will die. Of course, it's fake death. The vaginal fetus is about to give birth and cannot be delayed any longer. We split up and acted separately. Wang Daoshi covered a warehouse with sunshade cloth on all sides to prevent any sunlight from entering. If you want to fake your death, you must cover up the vitality on me. He pasted talismans on the Baihui acupoint above my head, the Dizui acupoint of the meeting of the sun and the heart. The fetus thinks the mother is dead, and when it comes out, it will relax its vigilance, and then you have the opportunity to kill it. The team was worried and said they would stay to protect me. Taoist Wang shook his head and said no. We are all men with the strongest yang energy. We need to retreat. Otherwise, the yin fetus will not take the bait. This time, there can be no living people. It's all up to me. It doesn't matter. Zhang is fake, but after experiencing various things, I understand that fear cannot solve anything. I lay on the ground, and the other team showed a comforting smile. Don't worry, just trust me. This sentence made him confused for a moment. I don't know what I was thinking, but Fang's eyes turned red, and then he took a deep breath and nodded. After everything returned to silence, I suppressed my breath. The surroundings were so dark that I couldn't see my fingers, and it was unusually quiet. I couldn't even hear the sound of my own heartbeat. As soon as the mother dies, the beat begins to move. The big belly was stretched again, and the pain inside filled the whole body. But I can't make a sound. Not at all. The body kept twitching, the fingers kept clenching the ground, and the fingernails were pinched into the flesh without any feeling, and the lips were already bitten with bloodstains. I even doubt that I will die in this continuous pain. The belly button was burning, and a hand stuck out from there. It's coming. One immediately clenched the peach wood sword given by the Taoist. The is still half solid at the moment, crawling wet from the inside out. My heart feels like it's stuck in my throat. With the crying of the baby, I watched it grow blood flesh, from a terrifying skeleton to a white and tender baby. Also gave birth to a pair of innocent big black eyes. Woohoo! The baby giggled at me innocently, and that look was surprisingly cute. My heart is still cold, without any hesitation. I raised my sword, but at this critical juncture, outside the warehouse, there were several sudden breaking sounds. In the following footsteps, I heard my parents' loud voices. They flatter. This girl has been rebellious since childhood. Following your advice, I put a tracker in her pocket. You are really clever. Outside the warehouse, the Fang team had a fierce conflict with the Zhang family. But there were many people over there, and the two were quickly subdued. The bodyguard who rushed and held me tightly, and I fell to adulthood, growing up quickly. When Mrs. Zhang found it, he had already grown into the appearance of a 7 or 8-year-old child, just like the dead Zhang Song. Z-Song is back. Mom is here. My dear, Mom's heart. Mrs. Zhang shed tears and couldn't care less, hugging the fetus tightly and kissing it nonstop. It turns out that Zhang Song had it before the accident. Terminally ill. In recent years, he has been relying on the evil methods of time monks to survive. His medicine is those young girls. Anyway, those women, one by one, are greedy for money. When something happens to them, we have compensated them, which is enough. Zhang Tai hugged her son and laughed. Market economy, supply and demand balance. That night, Zhang Song attempted to harm Wang Fei. I didn't expect to kick the iron plate. Before Wang Fei died, she tightly strangled Zhang Song with a tie. Therefore, his fatal cause of death was mechanical asphyxia. Tai Sang, who came late, bribed foreign police to make it look like the woman was also missing, and then secretly transported Zhang Song back to the country. 100-year-old willow coffin bed, selecting many women for netherworld relatives. All of this is to fulfill Zhang's long-cherished wish to continue the family line. I see. After hearing that Wang Fei's body was still in the Tai Monk temple, I took a deep breath. What a supply and demand balance. Money is a good thing. It can buy a comfortable and happy life and a superior social status. Those who think that money can manipulate everything are too arrogant and ignorant. I heard myself laughing. Do you know there is another solution to deal with newly born vaginal fetuses? In the darkness, my voice is so firm. That is, mother and son are connected and jade and stone are burned together. I will fiercely stick the curse in my hand to my own heart. The pain struck, and at the same moment, Zhang Song twitched and struggled like being burned by invisible fire, screaming in pain. Mom, save me, Mom, stop that crazy woman. He lunged at me like crazy, but just as he touched me, I saw its skin burn and shatter into black powder with a mournful cry. Zhang Tai, Tai Sang, and others were arrested by the police for involvement in multiple cases of missing women. Soon, Wang Fei's body was found at the Tai temple. She was divided into several pieces and hidden in a jar. The Tai monk was afraid of her revenge and used the most brutal magic to suppress her. When the body was transported back to the country, all the police officers were red-eyed and took off their hats to pay tribute. Because Wang Fei is not only the fiancé of the team, also an undercover police officer. 6 months ago, the Special Investigation Department began to target Zhang Song. Many women's mysterious deaths are closely related to him. So Wang Fei volunteered to take on the undercover mission. I've been following him since the cruise ship case. No one knows him better than me, team. I am the most suitable candidate. She is an excellent police officer and has solved many cases. She has won awards and also been injured. She has never been a passionate young person. Her only problem is that she is too stubborn. The identified case, even if pursued until the head is broken and bleeding, must be investigated to the end. In terms of emotions, Fang Team is reluctant to let his girlfriend go. But in terms of reason, he has no reason to refuse. And so, he agreed to the mission. On the day of the funeral, I also attended. Wang Fei's tomb is also buried in the Martyr's Garden, where the scenery is pleasant, and her father is also buried here. The woman inherited her father's profession and badge, although he had a premonition that his girlfriend would have an accident. As long as the result did not come out one day, the team held a glimmer of hope. He always said that there might be a miracle. In our industry, we need to believe in miracles, but miracles never fall from the sky. So we need to race against time and do everything we can. Now he is like a lost soul, waiting for all his colleagues to leave, still standing in front of the grave with flowers in his hands. I think she just went on a mission to a faraway place to carry out a very confidential mission that I couldn't even know about. Do you know what I was thinking on the day of the funeral? The team muttered to himself, saying he wasn't too sad. I have been thinking about what kind of engagement ring to choose, whether it is a row of diamonds or a single one, and how many carats are appropriate. Your girls' things are too complicated. I don't understand. So I just sent all the photos to the FBI and waited for her to choose. Returning home in a daze, he opened the message. The photos sent out are all unread. Scroll up, hundreds or thousands of messages, all of which are him talking to himself. What case did you encounter today? What report do you need to make tomorrow? The day after tomorrow, I will also attend her memorial service. The superior instructed him to write a speech. Required duration, 8 minutes, within 1,000 words. It wasn't until then that I felt like she had really left me. The misty rain made the man's facial features blurry. My angina, one should remain silent, but at that moment, just before I was about to disappear, I was willful. I hugged him tightly from behind, and he was probably shocked by my actions when he was about to break free. My words made him stiff all over. Fang Shin, I have no regrets. I am the best undercover candidate. Your decision is not wrong. Don't blame yourself, never. Yes, I am Wang Fei. I just kept borrowing Fang Tang's body, because that night, when I was dragged out of the hotel, on the verge of death, diagonally opposite, a door quietly opened a crack. Fang Tang is the only witness to this case, but she was an ordinary girl, and she was scared silly in the face of all this. She didn't dare to call the police. She knew too well that she was vulnerable in front of rich people, and she has to work hard for a long time to go abroad even once. She chose silence, which was reasonable, but when our eyes met for a moment, her sense of guilt became my lifesaver. She accepted my obsession and allowed me to use my body temporarily. To some extent, she is very brave. I must find out the truth, find out where I am, bring them to justice. Fang Shen, when I chose to engage in this profession, I was prepared for the worst, aren't you? I pressed against his back, feeling his pain. It's so good to be alive. You can suffer, you can despair. It can also raise hope again. By the way, those rings, what kind of straight male aesthetic do you have? It's so tacky. If you have to choose, then choose the second option. Fang Shin held my hand tightly, and his veins burst out with force. It seems that if I think so, I can't leave. His tears fell on the back of my hand, choking and babbling. Then the second one, but the third one is the most expensive. Isn't the most expensive one good? I want to give you the best. Fool, I'm laughing. The soul gradually withdraws uncontrollably. In the end, I weakly closed my eyes. Wang Fei, this task has been completed. Apply to return to the team. Why am I here? The girl came to her senses in a daze. The real Fang Tang woke up, but she couldn't remember everything that happened. I just feel like I had a very long dream. In front of her, the handsome police officer was, half kneeling in front of her with a quiet expression and tears on his face. She was surprised and somewhat afraid. "Officer, are you okay?"